Hi, I'm David Council from Inferno Marketing and Design, and this is another email update. Now, in a moment, I'm going to deal with some of the questions that we get asked all the time about using Facebook. But before I do that, let me just ask you, do you know someone who's also in business that could use help with their advertising and marketing? If you do, then please put them in touch with us, or for that matter, us in touch with them so that we can have a chat. There's no pressure, there's no obligation. You never know, they may just get some free information that will help them with their advertising and marketing. But I can tell you something for certain. If you do that, we will send you a bottle of wine just to say thanks very much for making the effort. Okay, let's talk about Facebook and the questions that we get asked all of the time. The number one question that people ask us about Facebook is, how do people actually use it? Are they using their computer or are they using it on mobile? Because as you know, there are two different formats for viewing Facebook, and depending on which way they use it can make a significant difference to how you use Facebook, whether you advertise, whether you promote posts, all of that sort of thing. Well, the latest information out says that 78% of all Facebook users are using Facebook on a mobile device. Yep. Mobile phones and tablets are taking over. Not a really big surprise there, I suppose, but you really need to think about that when you're thinking about how to do a Facebook campaign for your business. The next question we usually get asked is, what about negative comments? Is it a bad thing for us when negative comments go up? How should we handle that? Well, look, undoubtedly, negative comments do hurt your uptake when it comes to Facebook. And you don't necessarily want lots and lots of negative comments. In fact, if you are getting lots of negative comments, then you've got bigger issues to look at inside your business, much more than whether or not a few people are saying nasty things about you on Facebook. But you've got to have a strategy for how to handle them. A lot of people that we talk to deal with this by doing what's known as moderated posts. That way, no one can actually place a comment onto your page without you seeing it first and approving it to go up. It's not a bad idea. That way, if you do get a negative comment, you've got a choice. You can either block it, which is not always the best strategy, or you can make sure that you've got a response ready so that as soon as that comment goes up, you're seen by your followers to be responding to it immediately. And that's a good strategy. The next thing that people always ask us about when it comes to Facebook is hashtags. Now, we've had hashtags for a very long time in things like Twitter, but in more recent months, Facebook has been using hashtags to try and jump on that bandwagon. It really is. It's a good strategy for them. However, the uptake has been terrible. I don't think we should write hashtags off at this particular juncture, but it is something that you do need to monitor and have a think about. I think it's better to be involved in using hashtags rather than going, it's a done deal, and writing them off already. Facebook is unlikely to turn and run away from this at this early stage. And something else we get asked an awful lot about is, what time should I actually be posting to get the best value out of my Facebook usage? That's like saying how long is a piece of string. It's more to do with who are you trying to communicate with. There are several times of the day that you'd imagine are better for communicating with your audience than others. For example, first thing in the morning. A lot of people, as soon as they wake up, pick up their phone, check their email, and check their Facebook. So that's a great time. During the day, yeah, a lot of people do check during the day on and off, but really that comes down to, once again, who that customer is and what their availability to be checking Facebook is during the day. For example, if your customer is more likely to be a retail shop worker, then they don't have a lot of time during the day to check their Facebook. So probably not a good idea to be trying to get messages out to them between 9 and 5. Another great time to get to people is either just before dinner or just after dinner. So in that period before they're about to sit down with their family and have a meal, or just after dinner when they're sitting down to relax, maybe watch a bit of television, that's a great time. And the other time is on the weekends when there is a lot more spare time available to them. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to be actually sitting there and placing your posts at those times. Remember, Facebook has a time delay function when you're posting your posts up. Now, usually you set the time and the date that you want each post to go out. And I always recommend that you separate those times out. Don't have a whole heap of posts that come up in a cluster. push them out a few hours apart so that they come up at different times in people's timelines. It's unlikely that someone's checking Facebook every minute. So what you want is as they scroll through their timeline, for your business to come up a couple of times so you get a maximum opportunity to get that impact to go to them. There's another thing that you can do, and that's go and have a look at Facebook Insights to find out more about your customers and how you could best communicate with them when they're most likely to be actually looking at their Facebook feeds. Anyway, that's a lot of information to take on board. If you'd like to know more about using Facebook, social media in general, or just advertising, remember to give us a call and ask as many questions as you like. Asking questions are absolutely free. So until next time, I'm David Council from Inferno Marketing and Design. I look forward to talking to you then.